adjust your television. It is us, 94 feet of life, free agency preview, draft review, and all other things as we are now into the off season. I've been gone for about a week. I want to thank the fellas for holding it down. I watched some of the draft stuff you all did. Just impeccable work. First class stuff, man. That's tremendous. I got Germ. I got Ham. I got MJ. Trav might be sliding through a little bit later, man. Remember, this is the Scene family. 94 Field Life is the Facebook group. We have an exciting announcement coming real soon. We can't say much of it right now, but we definitely have some things in the works. So stay tuned for that. Fellas, what's going on, man? Catch me up. Draft. Let's start with the draft because I saw none of the draft. I only saw the recap. So, Ham, draft thoughts. What happened? Anything exciting? What's going on, man?
Hey man, straight up, that day of the draft, it was like 173 degrees in Memphis. And so it was hot as shit. And I actually came home and I fell asleep and I slept through the entire draft. Now, when I woke up at about like 11 Central, I saw all of the other draft stuff. I pretty much followed MJ's Cliff Notes. If you want to get some good cheat shit in, the lab don't lie, y'all. The shirt's coming soon. Just letting y'all know on that. Follow MJ on good stuff like that. But I like what Memphis was able to get pulled at 10. I'm cool with Zaire Williams. I love that joint. Matter of fact, one of my guys, I woke up to a rant. One of my guys was going in about how he like it. I was like, yo, I like the pick. He said, oh shit, if you like it, I'm cool with it then. But I really didn't catch much of it, but I like what they did in the bluff though. So I'm cool with that.
Germ, I'm gonna swing this up to you, and I'm gonna go drop this down to MJ because no disrespect to the rest of us, but we're gonna say the best for last on this draft thing because MJ has covered this crazy all year long, really. So I'm gonna come to him last. Germ, your thoughts on the draft, or things that have happened draft night and since then?
So basically, with everything that we got going on for the draft, man, I was real. Me and MJ actually did a whole little segment for this, right? And for some reason, it wouldn't upload, so we can cut it. And I'm so sorry about it. We cover everything in the lottery, and you don't know the sad part? We gonna share it with y'all, obviously. But when y'all see it, y'all gonna be like, "Damn, they called half of the first round. They called half the first round." We said Golden State was gonna get whatever they wanted. They did. We had situations where not only did Golden State end up getting one of my favorite player in the class, which is Jonathan Kuminga, but we come into a situation where they were within one pick of getting Chris Duarte. And Les put us on to Chris before the NCAA tournament. So since then, I've been aware of who that player is, and I'm just looking like, so y'all just almost gave them everything, huh? So I'm gonna swing it over to MJ, man. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna get this thing going, man. Let's go.
All right. So for my people who do fantasy, who is really good at fantasy drafting, you understand that what makes the best person in the fantasy draft is the person who does not get married to a certain player, but get married to the production that they are looking for from said player that they're looking for. And once you start breaking it down that way, you can start to understand, okay, this player, and this player around this area will be able to give me the production that I need to be able to be, take the next level. That's what Golden State did. This was a very wing-heavy draft, and they needed wing depth. So no matter what y'all would have done, they would have got what they wanted. So they was looking like me at the NFL fantasy draft. I was cracking up because I was like, there's nothing you're going to do to stop this. They're going to get what they need. It's just about what they're going to get. So it was a lot of winners, and it was a lot of people who I thought panicked not because they didn't pick a good player, because I'm not about to sit up here and bash a teenager or bash a dude just trying to get money, but I don't think the fit was there for certain people. Sacramento was a team that I didn't think was a good fit. Even though I love Davion Mitchell to death, but it's like you got Tyrese Halliburton, you got De'Aaron Fox, and just trying to figure out how he's going to fit. That's all. San Antonio, y'all got more wings than Heralds, and yet you pick another one in the lottery. I just don't understand it. Maybe in free agency, y'all show me a little bit more. Love what New Orleans did. Love what Memphis did. Love what the Bulls did. Bulls was able to get a lot of, I would say probably into 20 pick in that area where the shooting guard from Illinois, they was able to get him in the second round. So great value pick. It's a lot of teams that do it, so but I'm not gonna hog it because I can talk about this all day. So I'm gonna swing this over to Les, and he could kind of talk about some of the winners he think it was in this draft. Les, go ahead and holler at him.
I think the Atlanta Hawks came up big.
Yeah.
I think the Atlanta Hawks, as stated like a few years ago, when they got Trae Young, they started to follow that Golden State mold. And they got a lot of young talent under 25. And they're getting ready to put John Collins. He's about to sign the big bag. He's about to get the max deal. I think they shored that up. They also did some trades. I think the Atlanta Hawks did well. And it was the draft for me, and I've been watching the draft since 1991. Literally, I remember the first draft, watching it when Larry Johnson got picked. Like, that was my first draft ever.
Right.
And I remember it. And I remember having on a UNLV hat that my pops bought me. So the draft for me is very special. And I'm also kind of dating myself too. It's 30 years, that's it's quite a life. That's a lifetime, it's a long time. But at pick number 9, now I love this player. I love Off Night. I love Davion Mitchell. Love him. But when the Sacramento Kings did that, I started to get a little. Now I like what they did in the second round.
Yeah.
I like what they did in the second round with Neemias Queta. I like that. I really do. But that right there, that's when things for me started to get a little like, all right. And actually, it started at number 5 with Orlando. Things started to get a little bit, things for me started to get a little bit like, okay, all right, number 5, Jalen Suggs. I didn't like that he dropped, but hey, Orlando, that's smart. You get the best player available, and he was the best player available. I get that. But we're also playing basketball. This is not football where, you go get the best player available and, it might be a receiver at that spot and everybody can use pass catches. But like, how many guards are you going to have, Orlando? Young guards are you going to have, Orlando? How many young guards are you going to have, Sacramento? Like, when I started looking at some picks, and for me, I had so much to say, I just shut up. That's how much I had to say. I just shut up. You ever get to a point, and it's like all of the like, and just like MJ just said, it is not about the player, it's just the organization.
The fit,
like,
yeah.
The organization. Now, Jalen Suggs, Davion Mitchell, they're going to go in day one and compete because that's what they do. That's who they are. But those 2 picks for me just kind of had me like, shut up, Les. Just be quiet.
I did. That surprised me too. I'll tell you, the little bit I saw, the Jalen Suggs to number 5 surprised me. I really thought that dude was 3rd at worst. Now, obviously, falling to 5 is not a tremendous fall, but I didn't think him getting to 5 was going to happen. So that surprised me. I was happy the Duarte pick. Seniors matter. The fact that a senior got drafted in the lottery, good for him personally. But it also shows you, man, hopefully the league is going to this. Like, experiences, guys who are experienced and guys who are going to be ready to play, which I think for the Pacers, a team that was a playing team, has been a playoff team the last couple of years, you're looking for guys that can come in and play now. Because the Pacers are not like in a rebuild mode. So that was the Duarte pick. I saw that when I saw that kind of come across the scroll. Okay, I definitely thought of Coach Les when I saw Duarte a lot. Like, That's like a coach less special. Fellas, were there any other things that, whether not necessarily a guy dropped, but you talk about Davion Mitchell of Sacramento, another pick that good or bad kind of surprised you?
Man, it's a lot.
I got a couple.
That's what I'm saying. It's a lot.
I got a couple.
Go ahead.
We all talked about Jalen. We talked about Jalen Suggs. I think everybody here likes Jalen Suggs as a basketball player, especially understanding what he was able to do last year, especially for the Zags. I'm going to be honest. Me and MJ talked about this and covered this on the little show that we were talking about. The Rockets taking Jalen Green. I understand, why you take the player, but I would have much rather preferred them taking Jalen Suggs right there. I thought that Jalen Suggs fell way too far down, in my opinion, in that situation. I mean, and to be honest, Jalen Suggs is probably going to be one of the four best players in this class when it's all said and done. So for him to go number 5, I think obviously he was one of the 3 most pro-ready players. I love what Cleveland did with Evan Mobley, but I think the writing is on the wall now with Jared. I think now with Mobley being on the court, he's now a 3-level scorer now that you have. That's a big. So that changes the whole geography again of the court and the pick and roll with a guy that you're trying to build around with Darius Garland. So now what's the next step for Jared Allen? Most importantly, I kind of like what the Hornets did low key. I like Kai Jones. I like Kai Jones with LaMelo Ball and Devontae Graham. I think that's what they needed, was a young, athletic big that could move on the floor. And I think he doesn't have to do anything right now for the next couple of years, but just develop, just rim run, rebound, and play defense. And that's the holy trinity of the big man at this stage in basketball. So I like what the Hornets did there, and then getting Book Night where they got him. How did he fall that far? Come on, y'all. Hey, NBA teams, we got to do better, man.
Hey, John, could you give me the screen share real quick so we all can see it and talk about this? Because I'm going to go through.
And while you doing that, Book Night probably should have went to – that would have been a better pick for Sacramento.
It absolutely –
you got another wing score. Like, that might have been the lane you wanted to go. And I do like what Charlotte did. I don't – this is why I kept my mouth shut Thursday night. Friday, I kept my mouth. I almost went live, during the draft. That's how I was feeling. And y'all know me. I just don't pop up and just get to talking like that.
Right. I know.
That's where I was at. That's where I was at.
Ham, what about you? Anything that's when you obviously you woke up the next day, you checked the draft order, you were like, oh. What was that about?
Well, I posted that nugget. That was the first nugget that I posted in the morning. Of course, I had to come with something of the historical nature. Mm-hmm. It's the 12th consecutive draft where the number 1 overall pick was a freshman. Last time we didn't have a freshman go number 1 overall was Blake Griffin. Just an added thought when, like we were talking about Duarte. Senior drafted lottery. Not often that happens, not this day and age, at least anyway. So, and then now, of course, now you got the G League package. They moving up into the field.
Hey, I
got to bring them into that, and I like that. You know what I'm saying? It's a good lick. It's a good move for that. But this game is just going to continue to get younger and younger, and hell of more skill. All your academy is needed. Just saying.
We come.
I'm gonna say this real quick before we do the screen share as well. Everybody
here is going to game working, so y'all on y'all. But I was
okay. All right. I was getting ready to say because look, I'm gonna say this now. How does Moses Moody fall to 14?
But I told you this. I told you.
Here we go. That's another situation.
Ooh. That was one where I looked at it. I was like, "Word."
Now we know it. I'm not gonna say we know. But we've heard enough of rumblings about a certain 2 guard in Sacramento Whether he's happy, he's unhappy, they not happy with him, they want to move him on, trade rumors. Why not go get Moses Moody? Why not?
Hey, I got you
Moses
one
Moody
better.
would have
I got
been
you one better, Les. Orlando didn't have one but 2 picks. Why are you getting Wagner when you don't have a scoring guard? I understand getting Suggs. You had no choice. That's the best talent available. And even though Cole Anthony is good, you can play them to a side. I get it. But who do you have to put the ball in the basket if you're Orlando? So you're going to pick up Wagner, pretty much a dude that you're looking to defend and hopefully stretch the floor because he's not a proven shooter yet. Maybe he'll get there. Yeah, he has good lineage because his brother's in the league. But we don't know. This is why teams that are in the lottery stay in the lottery.
Stay in the lottery.
The picks, I can tell you this, though, and this is a J-Ham special. I do like what the Knicks did.
Yeah, I do too.
I like what the Knicks did. I'm just going back through my notes and I'm just looking. I'm like, I like what the Knicks did. The pick that I feel that he got picked later, but a guy that you guys are going to like, probably two guys that you're going to like because of their youth and their growth is Josh Primo.
Love the player.
Josh Primo. I actually see him in high school live. You could tell he was going to be special. And Trey Mann from Florida. Those are 2 guys that you guys are going to like in probably 2 to 3 years. They're going to have that like, dang, what? Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm just telling you right now, those are 2 guys you're going to like because Trey Mann started out as a 5'10", 145-pound freshman in high school and picked up an offer from Florida and put in the work and boom, now he's a first-round pick. Josh Primo, I don't know if y'all got his story, but he's from Canada. He's part of that Canadian invasion of these young boys up there across the border that's really making it happen. And he can go. And he can go. So
I caught him a couple of times during the year. Josh Primo, I caught him a couple of times, just on those SEC nights, and Bama was cooking like they was cooking. They was letting the rock fly. He was one of them.
He is going to be somebody. Those 2 right there. Those are 2 guys, and I'm not saying they all-stars and all this. Those are 2 guys you're going to look up 2-3 years from now, like, okay, because I like where Primo went.
Yeah.
I like what his upside, I like where he went. Trey Mann, I mean, OKC, he going to have opportunity.
Yeah. But even
with OKC, though, like, yeah, they get Trey Mann. I love Trey Mann. But that 6th pick, you get the Australian point guard. You already got SGA. It's like, I understand you're just collecting assets. Y'all got 27 picks in the next 3 years. I get it. But, at some point, we got to figure out how we're going to build this thing. And I'm going to let y'all guys cook again because I really want to talk about the second round and how it's evolved into a legit, talent pool for a lot of playoff teams because I'm seeing a lot of sneaky moves being made in this second round. And we're going to talk about it a little bit, but I'm going to let y'all go ahead and say what y'all got to say.
I just want to say one thing, and I'm going to swing it right to him and Big Shot. Les, me and you talked about Josh Primo, especially exclusively through the tournament, because I thought he was the best player and the most important player to the Alabama team.
Oh, yeah.
And he was exceptional. Like, what he meant to them was obviously shown in every game they played. The Spurs getting him, what that tells me is they felt he was better than Lonnie Walker and the other guys that he has there.
He's 18 years old. He won't be 19 until like around December or something. He's young, and if you've seen him, like he looked like he about to swipe his lunch card in the high school cafeteria. Seriously, like even in college, he didn't look like he was in college. Like he's young. He has so much more room to grow. Like he has, I'm telling you, I seen the kid play one weekend, and I was like, okay. Now Now, granted, that was the fall of 2019. I didn't know he was going to be, 18 months away. I didn't know he was going to be a lottery pick in 18 months. I knew he was good, and I was like, man, he can go. But to be a lottery pick in 18 months it's amazing. So I can only imagine what he's going to do in San Antonio with that development.
Now, MJ, you have to pull up the second round. Now, I would tell you the one pick is MJ to be going to the second round a little bit. That really kind of made my eyes pop. And that was Sharif Cooper, 48 to Atlanta.
Oh,
Yep.
I said
a fantasy draft.
And again, they got quote unquote more information than me, et cetera, et cetera. But I thought the combination, one, of his production in the SEC, number one. Number two, this apparent growth spurt that got him to like 6'3", 6'4". So now he's got more size than what we thought. And he does, and the thing that they raved about him is the one thing the NBA craves in point guards, and that's people who can run the pick and roll. And apparently he's great at it. So I thought the production, the size, and he does the one thing that they want NBA point guards to do, he does great. So when I was scrolling through my little feed and I saw Sharif Cooper 48 to Atlanta, I said, what? Yeah. So MJ, get us into the second round, but that one, of all the picks, that was the second. No, that actually surprised me more than Jalen Suggs going 5. I thought that was the most surprising thing all night.
Well, two things that we got to understand with the second round picks. First thing is usually a lot of guys who didn't get drafted or dropped, they usually got drafted by their hometown area or kids that was from their hometown or really did good at the college that's close to the NBA facility that's there. So that they can hopefully put butts in seats or grow in the G League. All of these guys is not going to turn into somebody, so I'm not saying it like this, but even if we talk about a little bit of the late first round into the second round, you can tell playoff teams is no longer just drafting people just to stash them or, just taking flyers out on people. It's actually calculated to tell. Like, let's take Brooklyn, for example. They went and got Cameron Thomas and Deron Sharp in the late first round. Then they turned around, got Marcus Zagorowski from Creighton, who was a shooter. So they're trying to get guys for cheap that can play. Then I look at Greg Brown, who got traded to the Blazers, so the Blazers got their name in the hat, and that dude is just oozing potential. Then you got Jason Preston. We always say if the Clippers need a point guard, you sneak and get Jason Preston in the second round, who everybody raves about. I didn't want to be a fly on the wall when he go up against Patrick Beverly in the first practice, though. I wish I was there. That's going to be hilarious. But you're seeing all of these people just sneakily trying to find talent in these second rounds as opposed to just saying whatever. Kessler Edwards is another guy that I was wanting to mention as far as the Nets drafting. Like, you're getting players that, if given the opportunity, they could play. Like, B.J. Boston is another one that dropped in, went to the Clippers as well. I mean, he has pro pedigree. Pretty much that Sierra Canyon team was a pro team. They were traveling to China. They was traveling across the country. They had a pro schedule. If it wasn't for that pandemic, they probably would have won that high school championship. Neither here nor there. But you have a lot of great talent. Piston drafted very well in the second round. They got Isaiah Levers. They got Luke Garza. Like, Hornets got Scotty Lewis, which I thought was a real sleeper. Like, it's a lot of players that if they can find their way on the court, we never know. I mean, Jericho Sims went to the Knicks. We talked about the Knicks doing their job. But you can tell people are, like, actually now taking this draft seriously and really trying to piece teams together, all except for, like, probably a few teams. But, again, those teams are still in the lottery, and they've been in the lottery for the last some odd years for a reason.
I really like the Isaiah Livers pick for Detroit. I really like that. Because one thing you can't question about Isaiah Livers is that he don't bring it every day. He brings it every day, all day, every day. And if he doesn't have a foot injury, we might have seen him at 30. Like, we might have seen him in that top 30. But he's going in with an upper hand because he had pro coaching. he had a pro coaching him, and they did pro stuff. Their sets very pro-like. He will pick up things fast. It will just be a terminology, whatever the vocabulary for whatever the Pistons are doing, and he may already have it, just depending on how Coach Howard put it together. But Isaiah Livers, he gonna be the dude that's gonna be in the league for like, we're gonna look up 12 years from now and be like, man, he still getting them checks.
He still here.
Still cashing checks.
He still cashing checks.
Yeah. I mean, and even to what you said with Michigan, that's the reason I was like doing a lot of game film on Wagner, and I noticed, I'm like, oh, Coach Howard taught him the angles of defense, because he's already doing that right now. Like keeping them within the 15-foot range, the lane agility drill. I saw the carryover. I'm like, oh, Coach Howard, you ain't shit. You had got this man into being a pro by teaching the pro stuff already. Now, I don't know if his ceiling is going to be that high, because kind of what you see is what you get, because he's already doing pro stuff at the college level. But I was looking, I'm like, oh, that's all Juwan right there.
And you know what, though? You know what the thing about it is like at the college level and just what I tell guys that I coach is like, we playing at a help level. We play at a help level. Yeah. Like, and what I mean by help level is like, we got guys in our level, we can sit our big man in the paint all day. He can camp there all day. You can pack the paint. You can do those things at the college level. You can't do that in the NBA. Mm-mm. Can't do that in the NBA. So Wagner, he may end up being able that spacing and all those things he learned, he gonna be able to carry that over. And right now. That's why I say I think those guys, like some of these guards that we're seeing, like Sharif Cooper, like Ronnie was just talking about. Now he's going with Trae Young, who a lot of people compared him to coming when he was going into college. But now he's sitting there with him every day.
Right.
And Trae, we don't even know how good Trae gonna be now. We don't even know. I mean, Sharif Cooper just may end up just being an understudy. And then we see him, go off and be a starting point guard somewhere else in 3-4 years. Yeah. He just might be the understudy right now, because he has it in him. Like, there are 2 point guards in the last 5 years to average 20 and 8. They just happen to both be with the Atlanta Hawks right now.
That's why I was like, him dropping to that spot, I was like, that's weird. That was just a weird situation.
High supremacy. They don't like short people. Say it.
But they say he grew, though.
That's what I'm saying.
They still was like, no, it might be the afro. I'm trying to tell you.
He grew. They say they say he grew, man. I don't know. That was a weird one to me. Like I said, I like
y'all. Go ahead, finish that lesson, then I'll get
said, yeah. I like OKC's pick of Trey Mann, but I also trying to figure out what they were doing. Like we were saying, like they collecting assets, and I don't know. Like
they got Kemba Walker, they picked up Josh Giddey with the 6. You could have got somebody else.
And they got Shy. They talk about moving Kemba. Oklahoma City is quite the conundrum right now.
It's a basketball currency exchange.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you don't. Okay, hold on. You got 70 million. You got 70 million. Okay, cool. Check this out. Well, we just seen the number one. We just seen the number 1 7th grader in the country. So we trying to get that first round 2027 just in case. Unprotected. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's weird.
Bob Myers said, Bob Myers said, for the Golden State Warriors, I think it's Bob. He said, we light years ahead of people. I think Sam Presti took it personal. I think Sam Preston took it personal and said, "Oh, you like it? Okay, I'm about to show you."
I'm gonna show you. It'll be light years.
Wait till class of 2029 come. It's over.
Yeah.
Germ,
It's a
let me
wrap.
get Germ back in, and then I'm gonna get Germ, and then we're gonna jump into the free agency preview. I'm gonna go right back to Ham. You're gonna start this off. Germ, go ahead.
So real quick, I want to go around the horn. What did y'all think about the Clippers taking Keon Johnson?
Again, they're trying to find as many low-end investments that could possibly turn into something that they can find. Because, Kawhi opted out, but he opted out to intentionally get more money and possibly get another 2-year deal with more flexibility to be able to do this thing all over again. This is what the best players do now. So I don't know if Kawhi is going to come back or not, but I think he probably will come back. And if that is the case, they're not in the position to be able to just find a $30 million player in free agency. They're not in that position. So what do? You draft a dude who you could possibly try to create a dude that possibly can make $30 million. And the one thing Keon Johnson can do that nobody else in the NBA can do right now is jump 48 inches off the ground. Maybe if we get him a three-point shot, maybe if he learns how to stay in front of somebody on defense, maybe if you squint your eyes and eat a bad slice of pizza, he might be Vince Carter. But what do we lose? We lose what, about $3 million to find out?
Right. This low. It's low cost. Low cost.
I'm mad that you said a bad slice of pizza though.
Yeah, that's a bad slice of pizza.
You talking about Vince Carter? Get this man out of here.
Yeah, he was. So, fellas, let's transition into. I think this next couple of days lead into the summer league, which is next Sunday as we tape this.
Hunger Games.
It gets real interesting. And I want to go Ham first. I know Ham and Les have it. MJ too have a real affinity for point guards. The point guard carousel is about to start spinning real fast. So we got, and Ham, kind of just jump in with your thoughts. We got Chris Paul, Kyle Lowry, Dennis Schroeder,
John Wall.
Let's hit on Kemba Walker. Oklahoma City is probably not his last stop. There is Goran Dragic opting into his deal.
Now Miami picked it up.
Miami picks up Goran Dragic's deal, but that could really actually be the lead into something else. Right. So, Ham, let's kind of start there. The point guard carousel. We always talk about the quarterback carousel sometimes in the NFL. This is the point guard carousel this week. Lonzo Ball, another person, could be out of town again. So, Cam, let's jump there. The point guard carousel, kind of what's your thoughts on?
If you're the 1 seed and the 2 seed in the Western Conference, if you're not staying put with what you got in front of you, where else are you going? After being the 1 and the 2 seed in the Western Conference, if you're James Jones, why would you even bother letting Chris get out of Phoenix? Short term, 2-year, whatever the case may be. They got his birds right, so they can be able to flex and go over the line if they need to, cap wise. Utah, different situation. They might want to move on from Mike Conley at this point.
That's another one I heard coming back.
Right,
Conley might be on the move.
Right, he's in that mix as well. But it's like, if you Utah, what would be your next move? What's your alternative if you're gonna let him run? Kyle Lowry, I like what Jeremy had mentioned to us prior to the show. Just a word on the street. Shout out to Martin, Channel 51 in Detroit. But that he possibly be on. Would you say Miami, Jeremy?
Yeah, Miami. They took Goran's 19.4, They
Right,
opted
it's
into it.
impossible.
They're going to add
Okay.
something to it, and they're going to try to do a sign and trade so they can have the flexibility with Kyle for a few years on the books, and then that in turn at least gets them the money so they can have the man facilitate the trade.
Okay. So I'll sum it up just like this. Even with the point guards on the move, and we just watched the NBA Finals where we had one point guard pretty much put a lot of point guards in jail, and you saw best big dominate on pretty much both phases, offensive and the defensive side. So to sum it up, Al, I just say this: the healthiest team is going to end up winning this shit again in 2022. When it's all said and done, when you got all
Now,
the movement said, this, that, and the other, it all looks good. It's you got the parsley over here and the other little food decorations on your plate that look fly. But at the end, who gonna come down and who gonna be healthy in May? This is
now,
LA. This is when we get to the free agent part with LA and everybody else, the Clippers and whoever else they want to invite. Brooklyn, Memphis, yeah, I threw them in there.
now, I'll tell you a couple things that are intriguing. I want to go less MJ with Phoenix. Start with Phoenix. Phoenix got 3 really big contracts they're about to have to dole out. Got 3 of them. You got Aiden's first extension. You have Mikal Bridges' first extension. And we know the almighty, the super duper, is Devin Booker.
Yeah.
Chris Paul loved everything he did for them this year. It's undeniable. But you talk about that 40 whatever thousand million, whatever he got coming,
1,000 million.
and we got three bags that we have to give out. Like we don't have a choice to not give them out. I don't know what Chris is willing to take, but it's definitely not the old shout out to Isaiah Thomas. It can't be the Brinks truck. Because we have to pay these 3 young fellas an obscene amount of money very, very soon. So less MJ, whoever want to jump in on the point guard carousel, I kind of think I think Chris Paul goes because I just don't think Phoenix. I really don't think Phoenix can do it financially.
I said this privately, but now I'm gonna say it publicly. And this certain player, I would love for him to go to my team, the Chicago Bulls, because I think he fit perfect, and that's Lonzo Ball.
Yes,
If I'm Phoenix, and we talked about this. I said I think they have to go after Lonzo Ball. You have a 6'6" point guard, young, athletic, defensive point guard. Now, I'm not saying Lonzo Ball is as good as Chris Paul, and like I'm not gonna say that. Not gonna say that. But Drew Holiday will guard, him guarding Lonzo Ball is a lot different than him guarding Chris Paul. Lonzo taking that 94. Okay, all right, you guard me 94 feet. I'm 23 years old, man.
right.
I'm 23 years old, man. Go ahead, waste your time, Drew. It's cool. A little Westwood rivalry there. But if I'm Phoenix, I'm going after Lonzo Ball. And thank you, Chris, for your service. Thank you. But like, because the thing about it is, do the Phoenix Suns do they have to be in win now mode, or are they trying to be consistent contenders in the Western Conference? Because 23 in LA, his time is coming to a close. We know that. He trying to get him another one. They got, they just got the boy Westbrook over there. They got AD, they're in win now mode. Now, I'm not saying Phoenix should take their foot off, but you got to look at the longevity. You have a great coach You have a great superstar. You have the next up and coming superstar. You have a big man that's only 22, 23 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be really good. He's going to be really good. He's scratching the surface of being, in that top 5 bigs that we talk about. You got Bridges, Cam Johnson. So you got that 3-and-D type. You keep Crowder around for as long, but excuse me, if you want to show up your future and keep competing in that Western Conference, you go after Lonzo. And I want Lonzo with the Bulls. I want Lonzo with the Bulls, but if we talking about
here's my counter. And here's my counter to that, Les. Lonzo is going to the Bulls. So let's take him off. But what we can talk about, because I always say this, if you don't get married to the player, then you can actually look at the production and what's needed. Because Phoenix has a star like Devin Booker, do you really need a true point guard to play with? You don't. What you need is a guy that's going to be able to do all the things that Devin Booker is not good at doing yet, or you don't want him to do. And you can get that in Dennis Schroeder for $15 million less.
You can't. I'm sorry.
He's not Chris Paul.
He's definitely not Chris Paul. He's definitely not.
No, but
does Dennis prioritize winning?
That's a good question.
Does Dennis prioritize winning? Because he's a point guard. Point guard, they need to prioritize winning because they are an extension of the head coach, because the head coach ultimately wants to win. And so Dennis
this is where
prioritizing winning, because they got to understand he coming in on that whatever mess. You got dudes like, bro, we went to the finals without you, dude. Like, fall back.
Yeah.
We not with that energy. We trying to get back.
John, let me get you back in real quick. The point guard carousel or something else in free agency that tickles your fancy a little bit as we getting ready to open this thing up tomorrow.
What I want to know what else some of these teams are going to do, because at the end of the day, the Russ to the Lakers thing, I don't think anybody is fearful or scared of that at all. I think everybody in the league like, okay, well, all right, so now we got 2 dudes that's going to pretty much do the same thing on the court. We already know pretty much how everything goes with that. My big thing is just to say something about the Phoenix situation. For Phoenix, man, right now, currently, if they took Chris Paul's $44 million, they'd be over, I think, about 15 mil. They don't take it. They got the room to sign other players. You can sign other solid players. Like, what was the problem with Phoenix this year? They need to develop more of their front court depth. Like, these are things that they could do that would be better for them than going out and trying to reinvent the wheel here at this stage. Like, develop the part of your team that you needed to develop last year, or you couldn't develop last year during the heat of the moment. I'm interested to see what a team like Brooklyn is going to decide that they want to do. What else are y'all going to be looking to do? What bigs are you guys going to be looking to? What are the Cavs going to do with Kevin Love and Jared Allen? Is Kevin Love finally going to be let free?
They keeping Jared.
We got to.
They keeping Jared.
Him and Mobley can play together. Yeah, that is a perfect 1-2 punch.
I think Jared, I think the trade market might be as interesting as the free agency market.
More than the free agency, right?
Because
nobody has money.
Because nobody has money. The free agent class that we thought we were going to have last year, guys opted in, guys, etc. So it's not as deep as it is. And I think in some teams, just need a move, right? Like the move I heard today, again, the streets said, was Pascal Siakam for CJ McCollum. Was what I heard today.
What?
Yeah, I heard that too.
that
And then Brett Brown.
the Scotty Barnes pick
Right.
is the setup to move Pascal Siakam out of there.
Right.
Ow.
And Pascal Siakam had a couple of blow-ups with Nick Nurse during the season. So getting him out of there might be the. So I mean, that's not that it's gonna happen, but I think I think some people might end up getting moved instead of the free agent thing.
We still don't
Hey, Pascal got to get better with his attitude. He got to get better today with his attitude.
He got to get better with his attitude and his game.
Get better today.
He got to get better with his game too. Like, we know that you're going hard right and spinning left. At some point, you got to figure that out and develop a left hand. We know what you're doing, dog. It ain't gonna work no more. You ain't got Kawhi next to you to where we can't focus on you. You can't be modern day James Worthy without a Kawhi.
And that's because his nickname whack as hell. I'm not calling no grown ass dude spicy nothing, dog. What the hell is wrong with this dude?
Hey man, we was watching. So the dudes on the Toronto broadcast call him Spicy P.
Nah, I can't do that. No,
like you can't.
That sound like a Chick-fil-A nugget.
I ain't called no grown man delicious.
Let's order that number 5.
Let me humor y'all real quick with something, right?
Go ahead, John.
The salary cap this year is said to be around 112 million, right, y'all? Coming in at number 30 in the league right now is the Knicks at 49 million. San Antonio currently is at 58. OKC, the junior basketball varsity team, they're at 72. Dallas at 79. Charlotte at 83.
Kimber got 69 of it.
Hey, Charlotte is at 83, Memphis at 85, Toronto at 88, New Orleans at 91, Cleveland at 92, Houston at 92, Detroit at 93, Atlanta still under at 95, Chicago at 96, Miami is at 97, Sacramento is at 100, Denver's at 100, and Orlando is at 101. So that's 14 teams right there. 14, 15 teams, give or take, that are under. What we have here in this situation is a failure to communicate, because all the people who getting ready to compete for this next year's title, they all spent that. Golden State is so far above everybody else. Only Brooklyn is spending around in the same realm. And we talking at least almost $10 million.
Golden State is overcharging for what they did to the Cold Crush. What you got to understand is it's only 2 teams ever that won a championship under the cap. Golden State is paying for that now because they got to pay for loyalty to keep the dudes who got them there. So all of that is bird rights. You shore up Klay Thompson, give him the max, even though he had an ACL injury. That's pretty much saying we're loyal to you. You bring Draymond Green in, even though you may or may not have been able to find a couple of pieces for the money that you paid them to be able to still keep the ship running. But once again, we're selling the whole loyalty. We take care of you if you take care of us type of mentality. And as you can see, loyalty costs. So I'm not mad at what Golden State did, because they did it in a way in which most teams wouldn't do it. Because the smart move would be to let one of them or both of them go. And they didn't out of loyalty. So I can't be mad at that. Now, I can be mad at them trying to make KD play on an injury, but that's neither here nor there. I ain't say that they were perfect. But as far as, just taking care of their own, that's what they did. So the 160, I don't really look at it like that. And you also got to think, at any given moment, that Andrew Wiggins contract could come off at any given moment. And now you're pretty much in a manageable situation.
Right. Some other names that just kind of interesting. Spencer Dinwiddie is an interesting name.
Wizards.
Coming off the injury. The Wizards is looking like it is one of the teams. Looks like the team that's might be more strongly linked with him. Lauri Markkanen. Apparently the Bulls may not even match his offer.
Dallas.
He might become unprotected. Dallas. Porzingis. Crystal Light Porzingis.
I mean, we got to get a big man that can shoot from somewhere. We thought Porzingis could do it. He can't. So let's bring another one in. Try this again. Any dude that's over 6'11" that can shoot it, Mark Cuban gonna get him, because he had a dude that was over 6'11" that could shoot it and ended up getting him a title. So
Right.
He's gonna follow his blueprint till he's out of there.
Real quick, I'm gonna jump in and throw a comment in here.
Sure.
We got a comment here from Mike Cravens for Drums on YouTube here. He said the Knicks got to get Oubre. I felt like the Knicks needed to get Lonzo and Oubre. So here at 94 feet, Trav is not here today to tell you that Oubre ain't that dude like that. So I'm gonna say it like Trav was saying. Oubre ain't that dude like that. You know what I'm saying? So the problem with Kelly Oubre to any team is he's going to be a scrappy defender. He's going to do those things. Like, he'll do dirty work stuff for you. Where Kelly Oubre is best on the court is coming off your bench. He doesn't need to be anything extra. He's a defensive player for the most part, in my opinion. And after that, if whatever he gives you in the scoring column is extra. You're not asking him to come in and give you 10, 12 points a game consistently because that's never been what he's been. He's never been consistent.
And if you're the Knicks, you do not need another hustle player. You need dudes that can put buckets up.
Yeah, Knicks.
We've learned that in Atlanta. You don't need no more hustle players. You got plenty. You didn't have Taj Gibson for 13 years, Tips. He comes with you. He's your buddy. Wherever you go, he goes. You've been had him for a while. All right? All of these hustle players, at some point, Tips, you got to go get somebody who can go get buckets.
Yeah, Tips got to find buckets.
Hey, he got his hustle man.
Ham, let me go to you. And I think this is we talk about all the off-season scenarios, and we haven't talked about this much. I mean, we've talked about it a little bit, but now I think the Ben Simmons thing now it gets real active, right? Now it gets active because now we are into the new calendar. We can really talk about it. If you're Philadelphia, Ham, obviously we watched Ben. It was terrible. There's no denying it.
Yeah.
But is it really time? Is it time yet? Because I am still, and maybe this is me holding on to the last shred of hope for this. And I've gone back and forth. I still feel like there's an MJ germ. Definitely give me your comments, Coach Les, when you come back. Him and Embiid still have only had 3 playoffs together.
Well, you agree. Go ahead. Before I even say anything, go ahead.
And in those 3 playoff appearances, we saw one year where Ben Simmons had 1 point in one game. We saw another year where Kyle Lowry put the cuffs on him in a game 7 on the road. Well, at home for Kyle.
He had the same game 7 2 times in a row.
Exactly.
In the same round.
And you went with my third one. You went with my third one.
This is what I'm hearing about Ben Simmons that it's changed my tune as far as him being able to stay or go. What I'm hearing is he's not really putting in the extra work on his craft, and he's been getting babied from what I'm hearing to the point where he has a sense of entitlement as to what he feel like he should be and what he should do, as opposed to Joel Embiid, who you can tell is taking it serious. He's lost the weight. He is taking the next level. He is an MVP caliber player now. And if Ben would probably work half as hard as what Embiid is working, this conversation wouldn't even be needed to be had. It's a difference between when you have a mental health block versus you're just not prepared for a situation. And from what I'm hearing, Ben is just not prepared for the situation. He didn't put the work in. And that's the thing, you gotta go.
Because to me it's like obviously he has the big flaw. I ain't gonna say it's one like it's nothing. He has a huge flaw.
It ain't minor no more.
The free throw thing is now a huge problem. Forget his jumper. The free throw thing is a huge problem.
If he running away from the basketball late in the game, hot potato.
And you the point guard. Why would I don't put my
point guard. He got the ball in his hands. He can't be on my flow, man. He gotta get off my flow. Straight up.
So, Jerm, to you at this point, do you go ahead and cash in on him with what and not take 10 cents on the dollar? But if somebody offers you 50, 60 cents on the dollar,
For
is
a
it
player
time?
like Bean, you have to take 50 cents on the dollar because he's not giving you 80 cent worth of basketball. Let me say that again for people. You can take 50 cent because he's not giving you 80 cent worth of basketball. Half of the game is defending.
Well,
He's giving you defending and he's giving you elite playmaking. But unless we take this game and we make it the Showtime Lakers, meaning we get up and down the floor and we get 125 to 130 possessions a game, and we take process off the floor, which is our biggest mismatch every night, you're not going to get the best out of it. So you're going to probably need to move him in that regard and put him on a young team that they can run.
Oh, the problem though is Philly is charging $1.25 for him. Do you see some of these things that they are asking for Ben?
Absolutely. And let me say this too. And I said this to the fellas, and now it's going to be documented on our show. The thing that I want everybody to understand is, Elton Brand, you on the clock.
Shit,
because right now,
Daryl Morey too.
And why? But why Elton is on the clock is because now you have a situation where some of your picks have panned out. With some of the picks that you have that have panned out, now the one pick that's in your way is a guy that organization is trying to get you in so many words and so many ways to move, and you keep trying to overcharge for him when you need to just worry about getting the right value or the right fits for your basketball team. It takes 30 seconds to pick up a phone and make one phone call anywhere in the world to try to get Ben Simmons off your roster. If you want to get him gone, you tried to take 2 draft picks and Andrew Wiggins for Ben Simmons, and Golden State hung up the phone on him.
And James Wiseman.
And James Wiseman. So you tried to take another big that you probably was going to flip for something else because you got Joel Embiid. You then went and asked for their best wing defender right now currently on their team and 2 draft picks to fill for a slot that a dude that ain't going to go in and give you half the production of both of those players together.
Hey, Elton Brand asked for Park Place and was going to give you a railroad for it.
You know what that's the equivalent of? That's the equivalent of Raymond going into that store and white man can't jump.
No,
that's outrageous.
The gun he tried to rob him with. He had to sell the gun. Right. Who does that?
Hey, I'm about to shut the whole show down right now, y'all. That's equivalent to Player Fly on YouTube when he hit that bottle and he hit that high note to another octave. Elton Brand, Player Fly called and said he want his whole style back because he don't want to be a junkie like you.
Hey man, I just think that's such a difficult position to be in, where, as MJ talked about it, whether it's the lack of work, the work ethic isn't there, and then he has this massive flaw that now is costing games
in the biggest part of the season.
Here at 94, we don't parcel out blame like that. But that flaw cost you.
I ain't never seen a man run away from the ball like that.
It cost you. And he's so talented, he's so gifted, but what do you actually do? I think it becomes interesting. I think starting this week, what happens with him, I think, becomes a real interesting story. It's been talked about, obviously, in the wake of them losing. But now that we actually can do real off-season stuff, I think it heats up. And I tell you what, you're going to kick you. If you don't get, just Jerm talked about, 50 cent play, you don't get 8 cents on the dollar. Philly, you going to kick yourself. if that James Harden trade had been available to you and you didn't make it, and you come back with 20 cents on the dollar when James Harden was staring you in the face a couple, 6-7 months ago. I'm just saying. Go ahead, Ham.
I want to know how long it's gonna be before you stop holding on to it, though, Big Shot. Are we talking like Christmas, the turn of the calendar?
Holding on to which part?
With Ben Simmons.
You know what? I hold on to it, and I will admit that it's probably a flaw. The talent is so obscene.
I agree. This is why I'm asking the question.
I just feel like the talent is so obscene. He's 24.
Right.
But here's the problem. Here's the problem.
So I admit, Ham, it's a me problem. Full stop. It's me.
I mean, like Draymond Green carved out a lane for guys who can't shoot. You can, just follow that blueprint. But the thing that Draymond Green is he has toughness, and at least he's willing to take the free throw. He's willing to take the open shot, whether it's made or not. And sometimes that's all you need. Just be willing.
Yeah.
Here's you know what the problem is? And I'm going to say this. Draymond Green isn't looked at like Ben Simmons.
Of course.
So Draymond Green is not going to get the same foul calls that Ben Simmons is going to draw when he get in the paint. So that's naturally what the issue is right there.
And
the one team
versus the number 1 overall pick.
Right. Because we talk about a situation where if there's any team that could have figured it out, it would have been Golden State. Because Golden State, with the way that the court is with that team, he would have just slid right into that role where Draymond is now. And he would have gave you another guy who can guard multiple positions and start breaks. And now you got 2 people running down the wing again, because we know Clay is coming back. And now the dynamic of being getting that one-on-one and blowing by a bigger player.
Hey, he would have turned into the perimeter Marcus Camby around that joint.
Literally.
Yeah.
Listen, the only team that could have made it work, to maximum capacity in a winning way, told you no, because you came to them and said, we want all of this stuff. If they had said, give me pick 14 and Andrew Wiggins, Golden State would have said, you know what? Ben is a better defensive player than Andrew Wiggins. Ben also is a better playmaker. He can keep the floor organized when we put Steph on the bench, because that's what we struggle with. Jordan Poole now becomes a better, more reliable asset off of my bench now, because he can focus on primarily scoring. I know the whole spiel for the team.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
It's
Elton
Can I
Brand.
get a job somewhere? Because these dudes is trash.
I don't know where EB was on, man. It was he
Fella high.
How we look at Ben Simmons, how we looked at who we thought he was gonna be, that's what Elton Brand trying to sell him as. Think about that. Like, we all thought, hey, remember the slam cover? The slam cover was reminiscent of of LBJ. You know what I'm saying? He had the documentary following him around at LSU. He about to be the next 6'10" point guard coming in. Everybody
make NIT.
Hey man, I'm just saying. And then y'all exposed the man for not making free throws, and then now you trying to like. Elton Brand spent 2 years on the west side of Chicago. He learned the art of finesse, and so he tried to finesse somebody.
You trying to sell me an Audi that has been on the Carfax with 2 accidents?
Bro,
I'm trying to sell that to me for 30 racks.
The Benz is sitting there. We got the 2019 Benz with 130,000 miles on.
Man,
That's
a
some
lot of
Uber
miles.
for you. Uber and Lyft.
He got the G-Wagon. He got the G-Wagon on 10s.
Keep it clean though. They are clean.
They clean.
He got the G-Wagon on 10s. You in the wagon, you got to 20 them at least.
And watch this. And this is the most interesting part of this, right?
20 of them.
Philly.
I miss talking to y'all. I swear I did.
Yo, listen.
Hey, listen, that's a violation. How you not 20? It's too much rubber around.
This whole I'm sorry, not Elder, this whole Ben Simmons saga since the playoffs. Come on, man. Like we know the boy ain't been shooting. He wasn't shooting in college. He ain't shooting the first 4 years he been in the league.
Was shooting in high school.
Like, come on, man. Like he ain't been a shooter like that. So now all of a sudden, everybody indicting him shooting. You know what you was getting?
I never indicted him for not. My indictment on him though was never his inability to shoot. What really I didn't think it was ever going to get to was when it got to now fear of. See, it's a difference when you say, I'm not a shooter. But now when that has now turned into a fear, and now you become unplayable. That's where, to me, the line, it has now crossed. That this wonderfully talented dude, we basically can't play for stretches of fourth quarter. We can't play.
And G, if y'all sell me one more time on him trying to switch from left-handed to right-hand again, I'm going crazy. I don't care.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter which hand. Right hand, what makes you think I'm gonna be able to shoot it with my left hand?
I don't know. I don't know, man. It'll be interesting though.
Tristan Thompson did that shit too. Where did that get him?
Rebound.
Hey, first got him rebound.
That man is Rube Baker when it comes to the free throw line late in games. He is not trying to get the ball back to the pitcher's mound because he know he gonna throw that some bitch clean over the pitcher's head. And that's what his theory is late in games going to the line. He don't want the rock.
He opted out of
it. Go in well.
That man opted out of a dunk. He was about to dunk it and opted out of it. I was only anyway. So, fellas, as we get ready to wrap up tonight's episode, we've covered the draft, we've covered free agency. I'm gonna just go shoot this around the horn real quick. We don't do hot takes, we don't do any of that. But each man, something the people should look for that maybe is going under the radar or surprise or something you think could happen in the next 2 weeks. Free agency or trade, something that you be like, hey, if this happens, just remember I told you so. Anybody?
One team we didn't talk about was Boston and the point guard carousel. That's gonna be one to watch. Because we talking Lonzo to the Bulls, we talking Mike Conley, Kemba Walker, all this, all these point guards, Kyle Lowry. Brad Stevens is cooking up something. He's cooking up something. We didn't hear a lot about them on draft night, but they know the need for them as a point guard. And I wouldn't be surprised. I'm gonna throw this out here. They might take a chance on Mike Conley.
Ham.
Lakers got a caper of some kind. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's gonna be sugar. I don't know if it's gonna be shit. Either way, they got some up their sleeve. Like let's say they like to finesse. Where in Memphis we call it popping cone. They gonna pop a little cone. Last time they popped cone 2 summers ago, they messed around, won championship. They put enough together, got it done. I don't know if they got that in them like that right now. Like let's say a little while ago, it's coming to that. They try to get them one more, maybe 2, but definitely one more. They gonna make a play, and it's gonna be headline and high take. Harry Egbo, shout out to Egbo. He gonna give us 1,000 hot takes on the Lakers all year because they gonna give us something to play with.
Jern, something. Don't be surprised if.
Don't be surprised if Dwight Howard ends up back on the Lakers. DeMar DeRozan ends up on the Lakers.
Caper,
Andre Iguodala ends up on the Lakers.
Caper.
Don't be surprised if they just get a whole bunch of old dudes. They're the oldest team in the league in the next couple of weeks. And don't be surprised if a point guard, I'm not even gonna say no names. I'm gonna leave it off. I'm gonna leave it off the record. There is going to be a point guard or a specific point guard from a team that's not very good that is going to have some trade interest, and he is going to be on the move. That's all I'm going to say. Don't be surprised. I'm even going to narrow down the conference in the Western Conference.
Western Conference point.
This ain't John Wall name, man.
Thank you.
No, nope. That ain't who it is, though.
Him too, though.
But he is. But I think John Wall's going to get bought out, actually. I think Houston wants to buy him out, which is why I didn't understand why they didn't take Jalen Suggs. But you know what? We're going to leave that in the past. We're going to move toward like a torpedo and go straight toward the future.
MJ.
Because if you want to stay around, vote for Laylo Brown.
For Laylo Brown. MJ, don't be surprised if.
That man said you got to 20 them things.
Yeah,
all right.
For that.
Don't be surprised if Milwaukee repeats, even though all this shit is happening.
Health is wealth.
I'm gonna tell you like this. Number 34 in Milwaukee looks like he has figured it out. He looked Teflon right now. He looked Teflon. And he has a team built around him to where he does not have to guard your best player. He don't got to do it. So he could just roam around this rim all he wants. And now this dude got the audacity to want to play on balance on offense and don't even need the ball for real and still will kill you. Offensive crashing, cutting without, man. Don't be surprised if Milwaukee repeat.
Hey, when you say he ain't got to guard the best player on the opposite side, that kind of remind you of 23 in Chicago, huh?
Healthy.
Levels.
Yeah.
And he won a defensive player of the year too, didn't he? Oh, okay.
And shout out to Trav, man. He said he over there whooping ass in that cornhole tournament.
Hey, Trav going. Hey, when Trav go pro in cornhole next year, we covering it here on 94 Feet of Light. Be clear. 94 feet of cornhole. That will happen when Trav goes pro next year.
Views from the cornhole. Pause.
Pause.
Why can't they make this a different name now? Y'all big enough, man. I can't just keep saying cornhole and not smirking. Change the name.
We're not mature enough to handle. We're not mature enough to handle that name. I'm just going to be honest with you. But look, Germ, MJ, Ham, Coach Les in the building. 94 Feet of Life is the Facebook page. 94 Feet of Life is the show. It's the Scene family. Big announcement coming real soon. Basketball for the people, by the people. We out of here.